Welcome to another episode of the One Life Podcast. We just finished week number 4 of At the Movies, and happy Thanksgiving, Pastor Jared.
Yeah, my favorite holiday. Let's go.
Why is Thanksgiving your favorite holiday? All of our listeners want to know.
Family, football, and food. Can it get any
fair.
more American than that? No, I
Very
don't know.
Baptist
Since I was
in your alliteration too.
Yeah, that's right. Well, since I was a young kid, always enjoyed this holiday. We never grew up around family, so it was always, I would say, except for your immediate family, so
Yeah.
extended. They were always in Florida, so it's always a chance to hang out. But so growing up in Michigan, my dad was a hunter, and so Thanksgiving morning we would get up early and we would go to the tree stand for a few hours. And I can remember several times my dad would get a deer on Thanksgiving Day. So that was my childhood. And you come home and you watch the Detroit Lions. So from Michigan, they were terrible back then. So that was always a bummer.
Back then, until last year,
Until last year, they've been terrible. And then we would have dinner, and all the family, all like the friends from the hunting community, all that stuff. We'd all get together, have a huge Thanksgiving dinner.
Did you ever kill something in the morning and then eat it for dinner at night?
No, we were never that family.
Wow.
You would take it to like the processor, and they would.
I thought you were going to say you went to go kill a turkey. Like you went for your turkey.
That'd be really cool, but no, we never were that.
All right.
That hardcore. But then as soon as like basketball took over my life in high school, I stopped hunting, and we never really did that again. So that's just my earliest childhood memories around Thanksgiving were that. Let me say something about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, though, it 100% is a Christian holiday. In the 1700s, they kind of founded it. But think about it this way. As a Christian, we have a command to be grateful. It's the moment as Christians when you understand like what you deserve, that we all deserve hell, death, shame, judgment. We all like, and when we believe like wrath of God and judgment, and then when you understand what you've been saved from, like you have no other choice but to have a grateful heart. It's when you forget what you're saved from, that's when the entitlement creeps in. And that's why you can meet some very ungrateful Christians. Like that is an oxymoron. That should never be the case. When you understand that all of us deserve death, shame, hell, the grave, and we've been saved out of that, like immediately we have grateful hearts.
Yeah.
So even though when bad things happen to us and we experience pain, as a Christian, you understand, wait, God works all of this together for his good.
Yeah.
And if I really got what I deserved, I would have this. No matter what's going on in your life, as a Christian, you can still turn your heart to gratitude and to praise.
Yeah.
And it's the healthiest emotion. Science right now, it's catching up with what the Bible has said, is kind of showing us that. It's the healthiest emotion you can have. So as a pastor, like Christian, this should be your favorite holiday, right? But as a dad, like teaching my kids gratitude, like, yeah, I know you don't have everything that some of your friends have, but if you really got what you deserved, like you have no other choice but to be grateful. So I do love it. I love going on the table, kind of hijack like our friend's house. I'm like, everybody go around and like this year particularly, like where'd you see God move in your life? Like what are you really grateful for? And hearing like even like the young kids talk about that, and then as the maturity rises, it just does something to your soul. So I love Thanksgiving, and I love the food. I know it's the Midwest. You're gonna make fun of me. I love the green bean casserole. Like I'm all in on that. The yam yummy casserole. Like sign me up for the casseroles for Thanksgiving. So my wife, though, growing up in Rhode Island, casserole's not a thing.
Yeah.
It was always turkey, ham, but it was like the fresh vegetables, like the asparagus, and none of this casserole business. So when she married me, I'm like, it's all casseroles all the time. Like we kind of have this happy medium where we do casseroles, but also the fresh vegetables that aren't out of green beans out of a can. She's never heard of such a thing. And I'm like, that's the only way you can eat green bean casserole.
Yeah. My wife's the same way. Like any vegetable we ate was like our vegetables were like lima beans.
Yes.
Like just because it's green, I don't know if that really counts. And then like broccoli boiled to death and just cheese covering it.
Right.
She's like, "What? You guys are ruining vegetables.
That's
What
not
are
a
you doing
vegetable."
here?"
That's right. No, it's fun. So what about you? You guys, are you a big fan of?
Yeah, Thanksgiving's been my favorite holiday too. Big Cowboys fan, so that's another
Second
thing.
game of the day.
Yeah. It's we were kind of in a similar boat. I grew up in Texas. Didn't have like grandparents around, but we would always invite, like there were other people in the church that didn't have family.
Right.
So it was always a wild card. Every Thanksgiving was like, man, I'm either going to really enjoy this or like, gosh, I got to sit 3 hours with this random old lady.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Why should I should be old?
I,
Just because that's the way it was.
how the church was. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, but no, Thanksgiving's a bunch of fun.
Yeah, and we would usually end the night watching like our favorite Christmas movie heading into Christmas season. So we would football, then people would leave, clean up, and then we'd sit around and watch a Christmas movie.
Ours was Home Alone every time.
Yeah.
Right at the end of Thanksgiving. And then now we've kind of kept that tradition, but we kind of rotate it and let Hudson pick some. And
are you a Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2 guy?
So there was a time where we did both every Thanksgiving, and we would be up very late at night. Everybody was pretty much passed out by the second movie. Then we kind of transitioned to, we like the second one better. Let's just do the second one.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Not a fan of the third one. That doesn't really count.
After 1 and 2 are epic, like classics. And then as they got more and more into it.
You're just trying to make
somebody
more money.
told me that there's a new one out on Disney Plus.
I think last year
like
I
Home
saw
Alone
one.
5 or 7 or 8, whatever it
not
is.
great.
And I just draw the line in the sand. Like you can't ruin Home Alone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. The first two are you're right. Those are the best ones.
So now we have a new tradition that my wife is a runner, and we have a turkey trot that we actually are putting on here at One Life on Thursday. It'll be fun seeing all the people that have registered to sign up. So we start the day wicked early, running, and then end
create
up watching,
room for all the carbs you have
movie.
to.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's guilt-free.
It's true. All right, so before we have a bunch of content we're going to dive into just about the church and all that kind of stuff. Before we get to that, we went back to the vault this week, Mr. Rogers. And before, I think we did this a couple years ago before we even started the podcast. So I think the question, like, why Mr. Rogers? When did you first see it? And then, like, what made you decide this is going to be one of our At the Movies?
It's a good question. Because it was like 2 years ago, I'm not exactly sure how it all came to be. I just remember watching that movie and I'm like, man, there's such a powerful story of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? Every Easter when we do that survey, if you could hear a message and what the Bible teaches about blank, forgiveness is always in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Always. And this is a message of forgiveness, obviously, Lloyd Vogel and Jerry Vogel and their relationship with Mr. Rogers. And actually, I forgot, there's just a lot of like little funny moments in that movie that got the people laughing. So I remember it being like a cute movie with Mr. Rogers bringing back the childhood memory, but the story is so powerful.
Yeah.
So wrote it obviously a couple years ago, and I just, even watching myself back 2 years, I'm like, man, I have aged. This beard is so much grayer than what it was 2 years ago.
It's funny.
But here's what's fascinating. The response from yesterday, more people coming down front to pray after the service, more emails, more people saying, hey, Pastor, my dad needs to watch this. Is there any way you can send me a link to that? I've had more responses over this message about forgiveness. And so here's I made a decision last night, told to Amanda. We're doing a series right after this, after I finish Revelation, called Christmas Time is Here. And I'm going to talk about 2 things that just always seem to come up this time of year.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm going to do a sermon on forgiveness. And number 2, I'm going to do a series on how to deal with just grief. 2 of the big things. So forgiveness and grief, 2 of the big things around Christmas that kind of just raise its head. And I wasn't planning on doing forgiveness, but after this weekend and just, I think we're scratching something here with people. We're going to bring a message of, hey, how do you walk in freedom this time of year with all the unforgiveness? And because right, that person you can't forgive, they're coming to your house for Christmas or you're going to their house. So helping people take some steps.
That's good.
So you can never go wrong this time of year doing a message on forgiveness. And
to
Mr.
help
Rogers,
us navigate difficult family.
That's right.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Were you a Mr. Rogers
Heck yeah.
kid growing up? Okay.
Big time. I'm still like on the younger version of that, but my mom was like, no, this is. So I remember coming home, like even from preschool, it would be on. I would sit down. My mom would make a turkey sandwich with mayonnaise on wheat bread.
Let's go. Yeah.
Because I was a very healthy 4-year-old, I guess.
And watch Mr. Rogers.
And sit down. We would put a towel down on the living room floor. I would get to sit there and watch Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. Like my favorite part of that was like he would go places and you would learn, like, I remember one, like how to make I say crown, it's like crayon, whatever.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a Southern thing, but
how it's made. And
like all the how it's made stuff is super cool. Now kids can just like YouTube that stuff. They're
So it's interesting. I grew up with Mr. Rogers too, would watch at PBS. And then my kids on this side, now it's Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. It's like more of a cartoon, but it's the same exact thing. It's just in a cartoon way. So I'm like, my kids have never really experienced Mr. Rogers. I was thinking that yesterday in the message, but huge part of our childhood.
It's crazy, like the mannerisms Tom Hanks does, like just nailed it. Like
He's
every
incredible.
aspect. Yeah.
I think it was funny. One of our staff was like, just pick every Tom Hanks movie and it works, right?
Good,
and you can probably find a story, especially if it's like a real story. And Tom Hanks does the best of that. Like true stories reenacted. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's really good.
Some people are going to watch this and cancel me. I'm not saying he's awesome in everything that he does. I'm not aligning with him and just saying you cannot deny he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. It's really good.
It was great. Another great weekend.
Yeah.
Record crowds. I mean, it's just shocking how successful our At the Movies series has been.
Yeah.
And
so talk about that a little bit. Just kind of, we've done 4 weeks. Give your perspective, just all of that, like volunteers, huge shout out to them, like everything you've been seeing behind the scenes.
You know, it's in our lead team meeting this morning, I was saying, you know, we always kind of get to that point where you can tell energy is just a little bit lower with this. It starts out so high, and then it's Thanksgiving week, and you start to see crowds diminish a little bit. But we haven't experienced any of that at all.
Yeah.
And I would actually say energy seems as high this weekend as the first weekend, and that's never been the case, especially on our replay. But then it goes to just prove there's so many people that are brand new that have never seen that. It felt fresh and new, and all those things. So all that shared and said, man, I am blown away by just the traction, the attendance of where it's at. Obviously, the salvation decisions are off the charts. We've never experienced anything like this in a single series.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, it's been absolutely incredible. And you're right, like huge shout out to every single volunteer, the staff that have worked behind the scenes, everything that's gone into making this what it is.
Yeah.
We have one more week to go, and really excited about this one. It is a Christmas classic, one of my favorites of all time. And kids are going to be in the room with us.
Yeah.
So if kindergarten and up, it's a family-friendly movie.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun way to end our At the Movies series.
Here at our Mesa campus, like nursery, preschool will still do their thing. Wings, our special needs ministry, they'll still do their stuff. But then your kindergartners through 6th grade, they'll hang out in the room with you.
I think that they'll love it. And it's just, man, you know, Christmas and seeing it all, like and it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm going to say about that. So they can guess later on through the Instagram posts of what they think.
Win an AMC gift card.
So I think somebody last week finally won, guessed it right. So we've
made it pretty hard.
We have on purpose.
Yeah.
Got to stay in our budget. We got to make sure people don't win. No, I'm guessing there's just less to choose from with Christmas movies. So I'm guessing somebody might
narrowed
get it
it
right.
down. We gave you a really big hint.
We did.
Yeah, that's good.
You got to give it away now. Like, gee, she just almost laid out all the cards.
No, all right. So, all right. We also just finished round 2 of what we called Vision Nights. So big things happening, rewriting bylaws. I don't know if that's necessarily like, I mean, it's big, but it's not like, we're rewriting the bylaws, right? But there's a lot of moving pieces. Superior Campus, Mesa Outreach Center, our East Campus. So break down some of those things. Walk us through, maybe they weren't able to make it to a Vision Night. What's coming up in 2025 and years ahead at One Life Church?
You said something interesting. I agree with you. Most people are like, bylaws isn't a really big thing, but to some people, it does matter.
Yeah.
And because we are rewriting the bylaws, it requires a congregational vote of 75% yes to change bylaws. So we wanted to have 2 vision nights to be able to lay it out, answer questions that people have. And, you know, a church of our size, we're running about 1,500 now. Total between both nights, we probably had 50 people, non-staff, that were there. And had some really good questions. People that, you know, I would say that people that are curious show up to that. Most of the time, people are like, okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
And which has been a fun shift to see in the church. We presented the budget for the next year. John McMullen, one of our elders, is rerunning to serve for another 3-year term. But then the bylaw shift is the big vote. So those are the vision nights. And then we chatted about the 3 big questions that I get asked. Mesa Outreach Center. So it was able to give an update on that we have a property here on the Mesa campus, the west side, where it's a house that we're remodeling right now. Going to move our operation to Mesa Outreach Center there. Really exciting. The Superior campus, that we finally have all of the paperwork prayerfully beginning of the year, we'll start the remodel. And man, we're going to make a shift, probably even what I was thinking. So we might be able to push fast forward on getting services up and running there.
Yeah.
There's no reason for us not to if we get all the pieces done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the East Mesa campus, I'm going to announce to the congregation as a whole, December 14 and 15, some really exciting shifts that are going to be happening at our East Mesa location. And couldn't be more excited for the future of that spot. So
really
it's exciting.
And that weekend you just mentioned is our big Make a Difference offering. So highlight even those things. I think this week our listeners, some of them will be getting a letter in the mail, all that kind of stuff, to highlight each of those things and kind of what we're going for as far as raising money for that.
If you're a member, regular attender, or financial partner of our church, you will receive a letter from me this week in the mail breaking down. So our Make a Difference offering is the one offering we do every year over and above what we normally give to accelerate the vision of our church. Before the One Life movement, so we've been in the middle of a capital campaign, lack of a better term, the last several years. So now that that's over, we do a one big offering every year. And what this happens is this actually funds the outreach giving for the next year. So all of our mission partners, our mission trips, sending kids to camp, and then our Mesa Outreach Center, Superior Campus, all the vision that we want to do outside of our doors, like outreach, this offering funds that for the next year. So in the letter, I actually give you vision goals. Like, okay, to send 100 and something kids to camp, to scholarship them, that's going to be a $30,000 goal that we have to raise to send kids to camp for next year. And I'm a huge proponent of, I believe you take kids away from their normal situation, get them away, no phone, in the middle of the woods, they hear from God, right? That's happened in my life. I've seen that happen over and over again. So huge believer in that. We're going to have a huge mission trip to Mexico. I think this year we're going to build 2 houses, do some projects with the outreach center in Mexico. Well, that's going to take a lot of resources to build some houses, to send people to Mexico. We have mission trips planned for the Apache Indian Reservation, Togo, West Africa, the 6 Degree Initiative, the Timothy Initiative. We want to be able to fund all of that. So there's I'm going to get it wrong right now, but there's dollar goals attached to every vision lane that we have. And so, we want to plant churches here in Arizona and around America. What's that going to look like? So again, as always, we move at the rate of people's generosity. So if people give like crazy, we'll be able to accomplish every single thing on our goal, every single thing on the list. If it doesn't for some reason, then we'll just give and move forward as God provides. I would love somebody say, hey, God's blessed us this year, let's fund the whole thing. Then think of what we're able to do. So here's what I always tell people that are listening. It's not even even though I'm giving you a vision goal, at the end of the day, it's not even really about a certain amount of money. It's that just pray. Ask God, what would you have me, my family, my wife and I what can we do together with this? And if you pray, God will speak to you, and just do what he tells you to do. If he tells you to give a lot, give a lot. If he tells you to give a little, give a little. If he tells you to give nothing, give nothing. But I know this, if all of us pray, ask God, give what God tells us to do, together we can make an incredible difference, which is why I'm like, hey, let's call it Make a Difference offering. And let's see what God would have us do for the next year. So so you're not giving to a church, you're giving through a church. 100% of this offering goes back out our doors to local, national, and global mission partners. And then the Superior, initiative that we want to see accomplished next year.
It's really cool.
So praise God. I mean, people are already giving, even before the letter. And so I'm excited to see what God's going to do this year.
So you don't have to wait till that weekend, right? That's our big weekend where we're kind of acknowledging that, celebrating that. But even right now, like the Dropbox and all that stuff is there ready to go.
In this week, you'll get if you are going to give before that, like mark it. But in the letter, you will receive an envelope. And if you put a check, cash in the envelope, and you bring it the 14th, 15th, we know that that's specific for the Make a Difference. Again, this is over and above what we normally give. So that you have to let us know this is specific to the Make a Difference offering. But if you just go online to the drop down, we obviously will know what that's for. So, I'm going to ask our people to pray. Pray that this is one of our largest offerings we've ever done. Again, we're not keeping this.
Yeah.
This is money outside our door. So I'd love to make an incredible difference all around the world through this offering.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting times.
All right, man. Well, happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
We're
great.
back at it this weekend.
Go Cowboys!
Go Cowboys. That's right.
They win yesterday. They won.
I don't know why, because we probably just need to tank and get good draft picks, but that's fine. We're just in a weird spot now. But
yeah, let's pray the Cowboys pulling another one out.
Yeah,
get you
against the Giants. We can't lose to the Giants. That's true.
That's true.
Got to win on Thanksgiving. But.
Let's go.
All right. Well, remember, the church is not a building we sit in; it's a movement we get to be a part of to help reach one more life.
Let's go
for Jesus.